It was difficult to imagine a time before them, a world in which they hadn't come. But when they first appeared in March, nobody had any idea what to do with them, these strange little boxes that came with the spring. A simple box, an unthinkable choice. Let's talk about the book that asked the biggest question of all. I'm Zan, Konnichiwa, Aloha, Buongiorno, and what's up? And welcome to the Spiraken Book Club. We're in for another installment of Project 45 by 45, where I read 45 books before I hit 45. And this is the ninth entry. And this one's a little more serious. That's why I'm not as energetic as I've been some other times. It's one which is dealing with another provocative and, more importantly, unique examination of the human condition. I know it's been kind of weird. I've been bouncing from either very serious to a little more relaxed. Operation Bounce House was a nice, refreshing touch. We're going back to something a little more serious with something which is a little diversive and a little different. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about The Measure by Nikki Erlick. This came out in 2022, and this is a very interesting story. And usually, when you say interesting, that's never a good thing. But this is a thought provoking concept based in a world which is similar to our own, but there is one strategic difference. And what is that difference we're talking about? Well, let's actually get to it. What is this story about? This is the story of a world where one day in the middle of March, suddenly out of nowhere, every single person on the planet who is over the age of 22 receives a box. It has their name on it, and in the language that they speak, it says, "This is the measure of your life." And this is in front of anybody. If you're living in the desert, if you're living in an apartment building, if you're living in a village in the middle of nowhere, these boxes appear. How'd they get there? We don't know. What are they? Well, you have to open it to find out what's in there. And, well, I'm not gonna the Jack copy kind of spoils it, but inside of it is a length of rope that after a little bit of time we discover is actually the measure of your lifetime. How long you have. The shorter the rope, the shorter the amount of time. The longer the rope, the longer you live. And this is one of those situations where it's, do you open the box or don't you? Because when people discover this, they analyze it, they're worried about it. And actually, the first major quote about this is very simple. It's, you know, once you know something, you forget what it was like to not know it. I mean, the moment that you know that this length of rope is your time, what do you do with that? I mean, are you someone who's gonna be like, yeah, I'm awesome. I have a super long rope. I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna jump out of an airplane. It's gonna be great and amazing. Or are you someone who's like, oh crap, I have a long life and my wife's line is super short. I may have 10 years with her. Do I stick around? Do I just say, bye, Felicia, and do my own thing? What do you do? It's a conundrum. I mean, what about the people who don't want to look? This is kind of a situation. Or what about the individuals who figure out, hey, if we know what people's lengths are, we can control them. If we're an insurance company and we know this person has a very long length, we can give them a really nice cheap premium because they're going to live a long time. They're going to heal up, they're going to get better. But meanwhile, someone with a short length of time, what are we going to do? Be like, oh, you're going to die. There's nothing I can do for you, because these are exact. These are the exact times, the exact moments. Eventually, they calculate the exact time, but it's, you have this amount of time. What do you do with that information? And that's what this story is about. It's about eight individuals who have to deal with this knowledge in different ways. It's not all the same. They're not different. They're all from varying cultures and relationships, and some are connected and they're intertwined. But for the most part, it is a very diverse story. I mean, our if you want a quit, there's a main character. The first character we're introduced to is Nina, someone who, when she discovers this, she is a little bit of a control freak and she decides to look. And she sees she has a long life. She's great. And her live in girlfriend, who's the second character, Mora, has a short string. And now, like I said, Nina's a control freak. She's trying to figure out, how do we control the narrative? How do we do things great? Meanwhile, Mora's like, do I just saddle up with you until this line goes away? It's this conundrum of them and how they deal with this situation. What do they look up? And also, Nina's a reporter and she's seeing how this is affecting the world, how there's support groups, how there's people who are dealing with this in not so great ways. I mean, if you know you only have a limited amount of time, you might become nihilistic, you might become fatalistic. One of my favorite mangas of all time is one called Ikigami: The Ultimate Limit. which is about a bunch of people who they receive a card that says they're going to die in 24 hours. And what do you do with that last 24 hours of your life? Some people get very destructive. Some people get very poignant and they do a good thing. It's this question of what happens. And that is what this story is about. It's about what do you do with that choice, with that moment? It's that situation of that. And it's such a big moment because of, as I said, that situation. I mean, one of the other quotes is that the beginning and the end may have been chosen for us. The strings already spun, but the middle has always been left undetermined to be woven and shaped by us. Because you know your points. You know that you have this long. But what do you do with that? The next two characters we have Ben and we have Amy. Now, Amy is Nina's younger sister, and she doesn't look. She doesn't want to look. She's hidden her box. She's buried it away. She's never going to look. They ask her, I've never looked. Meanwhile, Ben, on the other hand, his situation's a little bit more difficult because someone spoiled it for him. Someone opened his box without his knowledge and then told him and then kind of destroyed his life. So now he's in a situation where, what do I do? What happens? And this is these two people who, well, stuff happens because they have to deal with this as well because it's a choice of not looking versus having that choice taken away from you. And then our other couple of members, we have Javi and Jack, two people who are in a military academy from two very different families. Javier is someone who has tried to get in the military and is the first one in their family to get in the military. He's doing great. And his best friend is Jack, who Jack isn't good at the military. He's in there because his great great grandfather was in there. And he doesn't want to do this. And when they get their boxes, it's two different choices. It's what do you do? The one who has the time but doesn't want this, and the one that doesn't have the time but wants it bad. What can you do? Maybe a little chicanery, maybe switch boxes. Who knows? And how will that impact when people realize this is a charade? This shouldn't have happened. Who knows? Now, I know I'm being a little spoilery with this, but in order to truly talk about this story, I have to discuss it a little bit more because of what's going on. We have to embrace this a little bit because I'm not going into major plot points. I'm not explaining a lot, but I do have to because each of these characters are dealing with this in such a different way. You can't not talk about this, and it's really important to because this story is so important. I mean, because especially because of the last two, Hank and Anthony. Because Hank, he's someone who he doesn't have a lot of time. He's probably one of the shortest people in this entire book, and he has an option. And what he does is something truly courageous, sticking it out and not telling people what he has. He's lying, said, I'm fine, I'm good. But it doesn't matter if you lie. It doesn't matter if you cheat. Your time is your time. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't lie to it. You can't run away from it. It's going to happen. And the fact you have the knowledge of it, that makes it a little worse. You don't have the date, but you know that it's this long, maybe. And Hank embraces it in the best way he could. And what he does is something interesting and different. More importantly, it's also the fact that he doesn't want to mope about it. He doesn't want to consider it. Then we have Anthony. Anthony is related to Jack. He's Jack's his uncle from marriage. Anthony is a politician who's decided to use this for his own gain because a scandal that would have ruined his life. Well, hey, no one's talking about that now. They're all talking about the notes. They're talking about the string. So I can do what I want now. And you know what? Why don't we make it so that people who have strings, we can use this to my own benefit? And what happens when you weaponize this? This is a very important story because it is dealing with that. It's also a very pressing story. And this was written in 2022 before certain events happened that I'm not going to bring up because I try to make this a safe space. However, this is very prescient and very, well, it's dealing with a lot of issues that are happening right now in a very different way. Is this a great book? It is. It's a little upsetting, though, because you deal with a lot of things going on. It is upsetting with how hysteria, how prejudice happens because of the stupidest things. And this is a story of that. This is the story of what happens if you have that ultimate knowledge of when you're going to die? And what do you do at the time? And that is the question. That is the point. That is the thing about this. And one of the characters has a great line in this, which is, but now, no matter how long my string is, every day just feels so sacred. And I don't want to waste any time feeling sad or distracted. I just want to be grateful to live as much life as possible. This is what's important about this story. This story is, it's about taking a moment, enjoying the time that we have. Because honestly, we don't know how much time we have. And that's the truth. We don't know how much time we have. We could be having a wonderful, great day. And then something tragic happens. We don't know. We don't have the timetables on that. We don't know how long the our hourglass is going. We don't know. And this is, what do you do with if you had that knowledge? Did you really want to know? Would you look? If you got the box, would you look? Would you not look? I mean, me personally, I'm a thanatophobe. I'm afraid of death. So, I mean, most humans are, but I'm afraid of death. And part of me is like, I don't want to know. But the other part of me, the curiosity, be like, if you know, you can know if you're going to live a full life, if everything you're doing is worth it, or is it all just a waste? That's the thing. Like, what is the choice? If you're someone who is into so many philosophical stories, you're going to love this story. You're going to find it impactful, poignant, thought provoking. If you're someone who doesn't like that, doesn't want to think about this is not going to be for you. This is one of those ones where it's going to frustrate you, or you're going to have questions that never get answered. We never find out where the box came from. We never find out how they know where they are. We never find that out. It's something which is like, it's a mystery that is never discovered. What they are, was it aliens, was it God? We don't know. However, what we do know is that it's a world where this happens, and these characters are all unforgettable. They're all very unique characters, all with their pros and cons, with their pluses and minuses. Every character is nuanced. I mean, Nina, she's trying to be in control of a situation where she has no control anymore, and she's trying to figure it out. Meanwhile, Mora's like, I don't know what to do now. I'm usually someone who just goes with the wind, and now what do I do? Do I make this choice? Do I not make this choice? Do I agree with people? Do I just jump and run? What do I do? And then Ben, it's like, that's it's tragic because like the choice was taken from him, so now he knows, and now he's like, what am I gonna do? Maybe I'll live long enough to see my fruitions happen. Maybe I won't. And Amy also, her situation, her being there, and also her finding a letter that might lead to more, but it might not, because the question is, do I invest in this? Do I not? Do I talk to someone who may be a short stringer or a long stringer if I'm a long stringer or a short stringer? Because I don't know. And then, like I said, with Jack and Javi, it's, do you make your own destiny in this situation, or do you push it? That's the question. The story is well written. Uh, One thing which is kind of annoying is that each chapter is from the point of view of a different character, and it says which character it is. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, where it's, this one, the first chapter's from Nina, next one's from Ben, then back to Nina, then Anthony, then Jack, and this is over a year, and then at the end it skips several years, but it goes from point to point to point to point to point, and it shows this. It shows all these nuances and what happens over the year and how things change, and how some people are super relieved. It's fine, we're good. We're long stringed. We're gonna be great. Our child is good, and oh no, my cousin, he has a short string. You know what? Get rid of him. He's not part of the family. We'll just say he's the one we don't talk about. Or the short stringer who's like, you know what? I got nothing left. I'm taking my money. I'm gonna go to the Himalayas just because I can. Because I want to spend my time enjoying it. Or the groups that come together. I mean, a bunch of short stringers who might be like, you know what? You want to come to Istanbul? Sure. You can rent my apartment. I'll go to New York. We'll go there. We'll swap. We'll house swap. Or you could stay here. Or you want to see the world? We'll have a bunch of discounts. No problem. all these questions which make you want to think about it. And honestly, it makes you want to read more. Now, the thing is, supposedly this is getting an adaptation. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think this would benefit being adapted because it is an interesting story. As I said before, interesting being a very odd word to use, but it's a very dynamic story, but it's also one which could be seen as political, and that is a problem. And I know I kind of shoot away like just didn't talk about it, but it is a political book. It deals with some political elements with that because, like I said, you could weaponize this situation very easily, and you can see how it could be weaponized. All you have to do is, for example, like, oh, my opponents, they're pushing for your insurance to go to the short stringers because the short stringers, they don't have a lot of time, but we know that that money's wasted. I'll make sure that only long stringers get insurance. It's an us versus them situation, and this focuses on that. It's not a major part of the book, honestly, because only it's referenced in maybe a third of the book. Not even a third, like fifth of the book, but it is a point which is grinding in the background because of so much of this, of people saying of that people wanting to register short stringers not doing it, becomes short string versus long string. And that's, well, it's something which, if you're not into politics, you're not going to like this book. You're really not. I'm someone who tries to stay away from politics because it's, like I said, this is a safe space. I want to relax. But this one is a poignant book that is well written. And it is a very thought provoking book. And honestly, out of all of our ratings, I had to give this, I'll tell you right now, a borrow from a friend. It's a charmingly poignant exploration of how the weight of a lifeline is measured, not in your length, but more importantly, the choices we make through it. It's what do you do with that time? And the fourth quote that I have is the perfect example of this, which is very simple. It's just the great American writer Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "It's not the length of life, but the depth of life. You don't need a long lifetime to make an impact on this world. You just need the will to do so." And that's what this is. This is about having the will to make a change, even if it's a little bit. There are people who are not here long that make wonderful moments. And then there are people who here a long time who they cause nothing but pain. It's choices we make in life. And I know this is more heavy than usual. I'm usually very, let's talk about this awesome thing where there's spies and robots and crazy people. But this is one of those ones where, yeah, decide to go for it. And well, let me know your thoughts. Did you like this? Did you not like it? Did you think it was a little too weird? Do you think it was a little too pretentious? What were your thoughts on this? Let me know. You can email me personally at Xan, that's XAN at Spiraken.com. You can X me, Instagram me, Blue Sky me at Spiraken, or actually at Spiraken.bluesky.social. Just look up SPIRAKN in your search engine on whatever platform you're using. You'll find me one way or the other. And, well, more importantly than that, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, share, subscribe, click on that bell for notification for when we release new episodes, and let me know your thoughts. Did you read this book? Did you like this book? Do you think that I should have been more vague with what was going on? Should I have not should I have not said anything? Just said this is a book about 8 people randomly? Because you would have to know who these people are in order to understand. You really would. And that's the point. But anyway, I digress. So that was the book I reviewed for this episode. Let me know your thoughts. Email me, leave a comment down below. I hope you enjoy this episode. And well, so for number 10 of our project, I'm going to be doing by Ford. What is it? It's Ford. Ford with a J. Ford Frezzi. Anyway, point is the book is called The Area Fair. Oh yeah, last name is Ford. Last name is Ford. But The Area Fair, which apparently is an alternative past literary adventure. Don't know what that's about, but came out 2001. Looks kind of crazy. The cover is weird, and also, ironically, little Godwink moment here. Greta had the book before she met me, and it was in our library. And I was like, this looks interesting, maybe not. And then I talked to my boss for recommendations because I've been kind of polling people, and my boss was like, yeah, I recommend this book. And I was like, I didn't even say that book, but that's the same book that we're talking about. Holy crap. So, kind of small world. We're going to see how that is. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want something lighter, definitely check out our manga review. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you for checking this out. Every email I get, every new subscriber. let's keep the conversation going. Let me know your thoughts. Did you like this book? Did you not? Leave comments. And remember to subscribe. But anyway, as usual, I'm your host, Zan. I'm Gonzville. I'll catch you guys next time. And as always, keep reading books. I'll see you next Monday.